Welcome to KissFAQ Song Stories. In this series, we'll focus on the histories of some of Kiss's best and least known songs. In this episode, Watchin You, originally released on Kiss's Hotter Than Hell album in 1974. This song is notable in that it was one of three performed at the band's debut show on January 30th, 1973, deemed developed enough to be included on their March 1973 five-song demo produced by Eddie Kramer. Written by Gene Simmons, he has recounted that the song was loosely based on the riff structure of Jeff Beck's Rock Me Baby, married to a rearrangement of a lick lifted from Mountain's Mississippi Queen. The latter song had been one Gene was well familiar with, his pre-Kiss band Cathedral having performed it during their shows. At one inappropriate New Year's Eve show booking at the Borscht Belt Flagler Hotel in South Fallsburg one year, band and drunk vocalists cleared the ballroom before even completing their rendition of the song. Perhaps it's better to reference the bass-heavy vibe of Jeff's original Rock My Plimsoll, included on his 1968 Truth album. Particularly in light of the passing of the guitarist, Gene and Kiss certainly weren't the only acts to be taking inspiration and more from Jeff's first solo albums and music in general.
Listen, you can rock me all night long.
In Behind the Mask, Gene told interviewer Ken Sharp that the lyrical basis for the song came from the 1954 Alfred Hitchcock thriller Rear Window, in which Jimmy Stewart observes the strange behavior of a suspected murderous neighbor through his window. It was the voyeuristic aspect of several of the movie's scenes that were magnified by Gene's view of his hometown city. He explained in the book, "Watching sexy women get undressed is a common occurrence in New York City because everybody lives in tall buildings and you have windows looking in other windows."
New York state sentence for a peeping Tom is 6 months in the workhouse.
Oh, hello, Scott.
Lyrics that Rolling Stone magazine might have considered nonsensical vocalizing, such as the "limpin' as you do" line, are essentially what Gene commonly did. A cat-like stream of consciousness. If it fits, it sits. It certainly was designed to capture a vibe one noted in a Circus Raves review as being wickedly paced with a sinister beat. As was often the case with early Kiss, late Wicked Lester transitional material, Peter Criss also had a hand in the song, suggesting the ending of the song with the shouted refrain of "Watching Us" to provide additional emphasis. In March 1973, the band had been tight. After the first three shows at the Coventry finished on February the 1st, they didn't perform again until March the 9th, their first Daisy gig, and essentially a warm-up show for that first studio foray. Paul recalled in Nothing to Lose, the demo recording was honest to who the band were at the time, serving as something of a musical manifesto. The bed track was cut live on a 4-track machine in Electric Lady Studio B, with vocals and leads overdubbed. Dave Whitman ran the tape machine, with Eddie Kramer engineering, in a job booked for Ron Johnson. Eddie found the band well rehearsed and had the simple mission of capturing them live without over-embellishing their underlying essence. Kramer felt that the resulting demo represented mission accomplished, and while Gene thought there was an honest innocence about the recording, it was a better methodology than allowing too much thought to distract from what was being captured. Plus, time had been a luxury that the band simply didn't have with the studio time at hand. Regardless, they now had a musical business card that could be shopped.
Everybody else is here watching you.
The first currently known and live circulating recording of Watchin You is sourced from the June 16, 1973 show at the Daisy on Long Island. Compared with the March demo, the performance takes a slower and more menacing tempo, though Ace is clearly solidifying his position in the band, with his lead work taking on a more confident feel than on the demo. That may also be a result of the natural fluidity of performing live.
You don't really know. Yes, you don't really know. You don't really know what to do. I'm standing here, not quite away, yeah. And I'm trying, baby, trying not to stay. 'Cause everybody else is here. Yes, everybody else is here. Everybody else is here watching you. Everybody else is here watching us.
The song was probably considered for the debut album, since it appeared on some prospective song lists for those recording sessions. However, this does not mean that a fully recorded October-November 1973 outtake exists. It would more than likely have been included in the Bell Sound Studio catalog recordings from September 1973 in some rough live form, along with other surviving songs from those sessions. Certainly, when it came time to record for the album, there was neither time nor money for more material to be recorded than could be used for the album. While the song remained part of the live set for the remainder of the club era, once it had been discarded from first album recording consideration, it fell out of favor, even though it turns up on an early autumn 1973 rehearsal tape from the Loft.
Watching you.
There would be few changes between the original demo and the version recorded for the Hotter Than Hell album in 1974. Watchin You had been the only song on the demo not used on the debut album, and by the time the band headed for Los Angeles to record the album, they were scrambling for material. Following the recording of the debut in November 1973 and final rehearsals leading up to its release in February 1974, the band had essentially been touring non-stop. Watchin You provides an oddity in that on the album it was the sole song co-published by Gladwin Music Publishing Corporation, as well as Cafe Americana Rocksteady Music. This differentiation also later applied to the Wicked Lester songs reused on Dress to Kill, lending credence to Gene's suggestion in Behind the Mask that the song had dated from that time. During the Hotter Than Hell tour, songs such as the album's title track, Got to Choose, Parasite, and Let Me Go Rock and Roll took prime position as additions to the live set. From available reviews and set lists, Watchin You was relegated to a seemingly B-list consideration, though it was captured live during the band's Winterland performance in January 1975.
to do. I'm standing here, not far away. And I'm trying, baby, trying not to stare. Cause everybody else is here. Everybody else is here. Everybody else is here watching you.
Even though it doesn't appear to have been a regular part of the band's live setlist during the Hotter Than Hell and Dressed to Kill tours, Watching You was included on the Alive album. It suggested from Eddie's work notes that the recording was rebuilt from basic tracks recorded in Davenport, Iowa on July the 20th. Even during successive tours, the song would rarely move out of the occasional category. It did return to the set after more than a decade's absence for the Revenge tour in October 1992 and was also included on the Alive 3 album. It was also performed during the reunion tour, serving as a reminder to Peter that he'd been a lunatic drummer in 1975. Notable covers of Watching You include Anthrax, a band seldom shy of covering other artists who released their John Bush sung version as a B-side for singles released supporting their Stomp 442 album in 1995. It was included on the album's remaster in 2001. It was also included on the Kiss-related ESP Live in Japan album released in 2006, featuring Eric Singer, Bruce Kulick, John Corabi, and Chuck Garrick. That version had been recorded at the Tokyo Takodanobaba ESP Musical Academy in Shinjuku City. As far as Kiss goes, Watching You last featured regularly as part of the Alive 35 tour, though was dropped after 9 performances during the 2009 US leg. Since then, it has generally been relegated to the cruise.
drums are invisible.
Yeah, I
And it
can't
goes
hear.
for the toms.
I can't make out kick or anything. I'm losing time.